Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Robert Ferguson. You're a nutritionist, a guy who shares because he cares. Oh, today is going to be interesting because I want to talk about one of the top predictors of weight loss and better health success. What do I mean by that when I say top predictor? Well, when you coach thousands of people and you have a background understanding and a training in the world of psychology, you get to a point where you can predict just through the words that a person shares with you. As you hear them talk, you can predict if they're going to be successful or not. And I'm going to share with you one, okay, not all of them, not the only, but one of the top predictors of weight loss and better health. And when I say better health success, I'm talking about getting off blood pressure medication, reversing your type 2 diabetes, losing that weight, dropping those triglycerides, just improving your overall health. And some of you are going to 100% appreciate what I'm going to share with you, because once you understand what I'm going to share, it can help you actually maximize what is a predictor. Because if you're not aware of what I'm about to share with you, then you can find yourself falling prey to it. And when I have coaching sessions with people, oftentimes the opportunity comes up, and when it feels like it's the right time, then I share with them what I'm going to share with you. So I'm very thankful that you're giving me a chance to share what I'm going to share. I do want to, as a precursor, to encourage you to be open-minded, because we're going to talk about this thing called dichotomous thinking. Now, I explain that as we go along, but dichotomous thinking may be the message, the understanding that is going to give you an opportunity to create a success that you haven't created up until this point. So this may be the day. You know how you go to church sometimes and you feel like the reason you were in church that day, that pastor was sharing that message, and it was exactly what you wanted to hear? I believe this is going to be one of those moments for someone, whether you're catching me live or you're catching the replay, because you don't hear people talk much about this and the way I'm going to share it with you, with the goal of helping you, not having you feel worse, but to help you. Now, dichotomous thinking is one of those things where we all, let me say it clear, we all have moments where we experience it. Unfortunately, some people experience it a lot. And when you think of dichotomous thinking, I want you to think of black or white. There are people who are all or nothing. There are people where they just draw the line. And that kind of thinking oftentimes can block us from being successful. It's kind of like the person who says, I'm not eating sugar anymore. And they will do everything. They will tell everybody, I don't eat sugar. I don't eat sugar. And then when they eat it, they just overindulge in it. They go from extremes. And there is a thinking. And what motivated me to share this today was there's a football player. I believe he was on the Kansas City Chiefs. And he gave a commencement speech to a graduating class. And he talked about, he shared his story, and he talked about his relationship with his wife and how they met and how he's so thankful. You can watch the guy tear up about it. And I watched many media outlets who 100% have fallen prey to dichotomous thinking. I mean, like, if you have dichotomous thinking, you're not going to be that good of a journalist, because you're going to be biased in so many areas. But you can see the response of people as they were just losing their mind over what I thought was a beautiful share that it's his talk. He can talk about whatever he wants. We do have freedom of speech, but people who have dichotomous thinking just took it to a whole nother level. Now, as I share this, I'm sharing it as an analysis, and it's something that's talked about right now. And I will draw the comparison and share with you how it relates to how to improve your health, how to lose weight, and how to be happier. Okay, so here's a clip from CNN, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then I'll explain what we mean by dichotomous thinking or black and white thinking and how it ties into you being successful with not only losing weight, but also improving health. And really, I truly believe this in just being happier. Okay, so check it out.
Speech season, and that is, of course, usually an opportunity for community leaders to, I mean, some of them, let's be honest, some people have lots of cliches, but they're usually very heartwarming, you know, shooting for the stars, never give up. But then there was this one. Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, took a different route. The three-time Super Bowl champ is facing backlash for a speech that he gave at Benedictine College over the weekend. Watch some of this.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker. Part of what plagues our society is this lie that has been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our communities. As men, we set the tone of the culture. Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men.
Okay, now let me just say right now, remember, if that's bothering you, you are suffering from dichotomous thinking. That's his opinion. That's his life. That tied into his morals. That's a big part of his religious beliefs. There are some Christians that believe that the man is the head of the home. Does that make it bad? The Bible even speaks to this. That doesn't, put down women. That's a religious belief. And there's a lot of people who believe that. And there's a lot of, when I say people, we're talking men and women. But if you don't have those Christian beliefs or share those same beliefs, then again, here's an example of black or white. If he's in the white, the way you perceive it, and you're in the black, then there's a judgment that takes place. And people start to personalize his beliefs, and they create a language in their own head that is not even what he was saying. He wasn't saying that he wants every woman to stay at home, be a stay-at-home mom. But you have media outlets that will go with that narrative, and they'll share it with people who have cognitive bias, meaning that are in alignment with the same way they're thinking. And then you create that fire, right? Where all those people, it's like misery loves company. It's like they're fueling each other because their gray area is black or white. And so people are quick to rush to judgment instead of having critical thinking, which in my opinion is like the opposite of dichotomous thinking, where you can hear it for what it is, take from it whatever it is for you to take from it, not judge anybody, and just give them their space, like to agree to disagree. No, not a problem. God bless you. And I'm glad you're happy. And thank you for your commencement speech. Because I can walk away from that saying, wow, he's married, he's in love, he's a family man. I'm not quick to just automatically just go, he wants every woman barefoot and pregnant and staying at home. But dichotomous thinking would have someone like that, right? So like an example of dichotomous thinking would be if I went into the house, my mom's house, and I said, hey, Mom, I love chocolate milk. If my mom was experiencing dichotomous thinking, she would say, oh, you don't like white milk? I never said that. You see what I mean? Like there's these extremes. It's kind of like if you look at it from a political window, if I said Donald Trump, I found out that Donald Trump donated more money to black colleges and universities than any other president in history, or made that money available than any other president in history, some people would not hear what I just said as a fact. They would then draw a conclusion, an assumption, that I'm voting for Donald Trump and that I'm all about Donald Trump and I must be like losing my mind. And all I said was he made it where they got more money than any other president. That doesn't say that that's who I'm voting for, but people with dichotomous thinking will just draw these conclusions and just create a narrative in their own head based on something that you say. It's like the other day I did a post on Facebook where I asked a question. And the question was, do you ever broil, using a broiler, toast? That's a question. It's a yes or a no. Some people say, no, I've never done that. Other people would go, oh yeah, I've done it. Maybe I don't like it, or I did it and I liked it. I had people respond, people who I love, and this is with grace. Their mind went to what it's about them. No, I like to air fry. No, I like to pan fry. No, what's wrong with a regular toaster? It's a question. It was a question that said, do you ever broil toast? That's a yes or no. It's not an opinion piece. It's not, hey, what do you think about, how you cook your toast? Or something that would open it up where people could just express their opinion. It was a yes or no. And if you think like that, even with something like that, you probably are thinking that way in other areas. And this is one of the reasons why many people aren't able to be successful in losing weight and keeping it off. And if you disagree with me, bring it. But in the world of psychology, dichotomous thinking is not good, because these people tend to be all or nothing. They're either perfect or they're not. When they have moments where they're doing really good, they're great. But then when they get off, they just get off and they just run for the hills. Dichotomous thinking. See, the way we think is the way we live, the way we perceive. What you think about, you bring about. And we live in this world where so many people are living with dichotomous thinking, black and white, that they're confused. And as I let this lady, like right now, look at this woman. This is the host on CNN. She 100%. If you go back and watch it from the beginning, she has dichotomous thinking, because the whole setup, she's already judged this man. And what happens is they want people on the panel, and it just happens to be, I just Googled, you guys, or YouTube search for, whatever came up first. So I'm not picking on CNN. And here we go. So let's just watch this part. I'm not going to play much of this. I'm using this to hopefully get you guys to see what dichotomous thinking is. And again, we all have moments, some people way more than others. But whenever I catch myself with dichotomous thinking, I check myself and I go, okay, I don't want to think like that. And then I bring myself back and look at it a little differently. Right? So let's listen up.
So the NFL put out a statement. They said this, quote, Harrison Butker gave his speech in his personal capacity. His views are not that of the NFL as an organization. The NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger.
Okay, let me point out also. Okay, and this is really interesting. What just happened with that statement by the NFL? Why did the NFL feel they needed to make a statement? Is because they don't want to be canceled. We're living in a world where everyone is on edge. It's this dichotomous thinking. I'm telling you, I see it every day, where people get criticized for having an opinion that's not in alignment with the majority of people. Like at one point in my life, you could sit down and actually have a conversation without taking it personal and getting upset and and foaming at the mouth and unfriending people on Facebook because they are not in alignment with all of your views. I watch people eat like shit all the time. They eat completely unhealthy. And then they complain in the same breath about where they are and why they're not getting results. And then they get surprised when they go to the doctor and they got some illness that has progressed because they weren't taking care of themselves. I watch them. I don't judge people. I don't know what's going on in their life. I don't know what their upbringing was like. I don't know. If I see a woman that's 400 pounds, I don't know if she just lost 100 pounds and I just happen to see her and she's 400 pounds. We don't know. So I'm not a black and white type of person. I am someone who acknowledges and appreciates science, especially when it's settled science, when we know it to be true. And if knowing about that can help other people, then yes, I'm going to share that. But I'm not going to take it. If I took people's lack of follow through and taking care of themselves and doing what I believe can help them, if I took that personally, I would be in a mental institution. I really would. But let's just finish this part. And again, I hope you guys are following me on this, and I hope I'm doing a decent job at explaining it. So let me know.
I realize I'm the only woman at this table. For the record, I don't think any of you are unnecessary.
But you don't think we set the tone for culture either?
Don't ask my wife that question.
A lot of dudes. But you know, the thing that's so stunning to me about this is it just feels like such a huge step backwards in our culture. And I interviewed John Bolton one time, and he said something that really struck me, which is he said, Mark, there is no arc to history. Progress is not guaranteed. And that's what strikes me. But you know, I keep thinking we're so past this, and yet here we are again, like back in the 50s.
I mean, what the hell is he talking about? A man is sharing his personal, is his talk. And this guy is trying to make it, you see what I mean? Like people twist things and put it in a way where it's like we're taking a step back. A step back to what? Oh, all women should be barefoot and pregnant and stay at home. That is not what the man was saying. He was sharing his story. Can we share our own damn story and our experience and what works for him and his wife instead of making it a soundbite and then a story that they can just run with? Because you do have quite a few people in this world that we live in, especially in America and Canada, who are all about women should be able to do this and do that and do this on their own. The home is broken up. I love the idea of having families be together where there's a mom and a dad and the kids are together and they grow up in the same household. I think that is amazing. I value that. Am I wrong now? Because I think that that's great when a husband and wife can stay married and the kids can grow up as a unit. It just so happens to align with what the Bible teaches. And that's a big part of what I believe in my faith. So am I canceled now? Is that a bad thing? I believe that when it comes to nutrition, that everyone must make the most of their situation. I believe that if you only have top ramen at home, and that's all that you can afford at that moment in time in your life, that's what you're going to eat. And I'm going to help you and show you how to eat that top ramen in the healthiest way. And I have some people who have dichotomous thinking completely look at me in a negative and put me down and say, how can you be okay with people eating top ramen? How can you be okay with people eating fast food? You guys don't realize it. When you are on national television and you start attracting a lot of attention, and I'm out there telling people you can eat fast food in a healthier way. When I was on the Steve Harvey show, I got people that were just overly like judgmental against me. And I still run up against that. I have companies that were concerned to work with me because of their dichotomous thinking. And I could put a whole bunch of them on blast. And then when I'm with them and we start talking, I get them to wake the hell up. Because how are you going to help people if you have dichotomous thinking around nutrition? You can't. It ain't black or white. Everyone is not going to be able to eat salmon the way you can eat salmon. Everyone is not going to be able to go to Whole Foods the way you can go to Whole Foods. So why are you so quick to judge these people? Meeting someone where they are means critical thinking. Does not mean black or white. I could not do what I do if I had dichotomous thinking. I couldn't. Think about it. Because I would be constantly judging people, and I couldn't go into the hood or go to an area where people don't have the resources or the access to what I would consider healthy food. And if you take the way I think, that's how I look at politics. And people who have dichotomous thinking, they can't get me. And if I go to religion, the same thing. They can't get me. And I get where they have their foundational truths, right? When it comes to faith, I get that. Like, thou shalt not kill. I believe that. I don't, but I also believe that if someone tries to kill you in self-defense, okay, I don't believe we should just be killing people. But if someone's trying to kill you, I do believe, okay, let's look at the situation. Let's find out the details. But again, I'm telling you, if you can get your head wrapped around what I'm sharing, you won't be that kind of person that is like, everything has to be perfect this week. And if it's not, then you're off the rails. I have so many clients, I've watched them. They're not losing weight. They're not being successful. They constantly battle because they live in a world where they have dichotomous thinking. They put pressure on themselves. It's almost narcissistic in a way. Not all of them, but it is. And a lot of this goes back to our childhood. Certain things take place that put us in a position where we develop this kind of thinking. And if people got with a counselor or spent some time with a counselor or, took a Socratic approach to it, like Socrates, where you work with someone who's really good at asking questions. And as a result of asking you questions over time, you will discover. And whatever you discover, because of all those questions and all that time you invested in yourself, will set you free. And you will then move from black and white thinking. And you can then start to be able to assess things and have critical thinking, be able to see things, see the pros and the cons of everything, and make decisions and not take anything personal. You know what I mean? This is it's so interesting. So I want to play the rest of this and then I'll wrap it up.
Here's why there are people who hold those views in America, and no comment. Here's a line that also struck me along all of this: abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as growing support for degenerative cultural values. And there are people, one, linking IVF to euthanasia as on par. And two, there are people in that audience, I am certain, even at Benedictine University, who've had abortions, who have IVF or whatever else. And the idea that he's wagging a finger at them is equally troubling.
Okay, you know what? See, these people are absolutely radical. They are crazy. And I don't mean to be insulting, but what other word do I have for it? Where the hell is he going with this? Now it's about abortion. Again, that dichotomous thinking, they start creating a whole bunch of stuff in their own head. And this man never talked about abortion. He gave a commencement speech that I thought was uplifting. But because that person who was just talking has dichotomous thinking and is so completely, I don't know where he's at mentally, because this does tie into mental health issues. I mean, there's disorders with this stuff. And we're starting to see more and more people with this kind of thinking. And it's mind-blowing to me because they start regurgitating what they think is ideal. people who are watching this start picking up and believing that, and you get more and more people that start thinking like this. So in the future, based on this kind of response, freedom of speech is on its way out. You can only talk about the things that are in alignment with those who are watching, which is absolutely crazy. So, what's the take home, you guys? The take home is this. Dichotomous thinking. We all have moments, but how you maximize and not fall prey to the negatives of dichotomous thinking is to catch yourself when it's happening. And at that point, take a step back, realize that you caught yourself, and just look at it from a little different perspective. Find the gray area, right? Find the gray area. I'll give you an example, and this is not a political talk here, right? But I'm gonna use politics because it's easy to give examples with politics. When, let's say, someone goes, people on the right, those Republicans, they're all racist. They're all racist? Now that is dichotomous thinking. That's black or white. They're all. It's kind of like when Hillary Clinton said that all Republicans are deplorables. All? That is narcissistic. That is dichotomous thinking to include all. If she was thinking that and she was aware of dichotomous thinking and didn't want to be that kind of person, another way to put it would be, you know, what I found is that not many of the people I've come in contact with who are Republicans, or many of them that I have met, I've found that they're racist. She said many. She didn't say all. That's a huge difference. So you can catch yourself and you can come in the gray area. You can still have your opinions, but it's a way to communicate where you're not beating people up. And if you can communicate where you're not beating people up or groups up, then that means your internal dialogue with yourself, you're not beating yourself up. See, the way we talk out loud is an expression of how we talk from within. Man, that was good. That was. In the words of Oprah Winfrey, she would say that was tweetable, or I guess Xable now, or whatever they call it. Catch yourself, you guys. You don't have to be perfect in your nutrition. You don't have to be perfect with your fitness. You don't have to be perfect with a lot of these things. Give yourself a little wiggle room, but also be true to yourself. Utilize the things that are going to help you optimize. Utilize what you have access to help you optimize. When I get on a call with a client, they may not lose weight. That's fine. I know that they're optimizing because they have built-in accountability. They realize you don't do it alone, same as someone going through recovery. They're utilizing my time, whether I coach them every 2 weeks, every week, sometimes once a month. And eventually we are successful. It's the ones that I don't coach, don't see them for a while, and I could point them out. There's hundreds of them. Very rarely do they keep the weight off. Most of them start gaining weight. And then they start blaming themselves. Again, here we go back to dichotomous thinking. And in their mind, they should be able to keep the weight off or lose the weight on their own. Something in their childhood, something in their upbringing has them feeling that way. Whereas one of the best dancers of all time in entertainment, Michael Jackson, always had a dance coach. Celine Dion, Whitney Houston always had a voice coach. So when you see people like that on top, always having a coach, always having days, times when they like meet with for accountability. When it comes to personal training, all the people I know in Hollywood that has a personal trainer, part of the reason they know how to work out. They've been working out for years. But there's something about having that built-in accountability. But when you have dichotomous thinking, sometimes that kind of thinking will block a person from being able to do what is in their best interest. And instead, they try to handle it all. And these are usually loving people because they want to help everybody else but themselves. And you start to see how these things all interact with each other. It's fascinating. I find it fascinating. So anyway, love you guys. Hey, good to see you there, Cecilia. Good to see you there, Linda. Glad you guys caught the live. Good to see you there, Pam. Good to see you there, Carol. This was great. Remember, learn about dichotomous thinking. If you came in a little late, watch the whole thing. I didn't go too long. It's a little over 30 minutes. There's some good tips there. And then once you like watch it and get it, start paying attention to people, whether it's politics, religion, around food. You'll start to hear people. You will hear them trapped in dichotomous thinking. And the way we communicate with those kind of people, I mean, same as you communicate with yourself, but communicating with those kind of people is like walking on eggshells. You ever had someone say, well, if you go over there, if you meet her, don't bring up politics. Why? Because that person most likely is in a place of dichotomous thinking. There's some narcissistic traits there because they're going to explode. It's not going to be a good meeting. I could go talk politics with anyone, even the ones who are at that extreme, right or left, because it's not going to affect me because I'm not walking in black or white. Now, it may not be a good meeting because they're going to be foaming at the mouth, and I get that. So then, you pick your battles. At that point, it's like, you know what? I really don't want to go there with this person. And I won't even bring it up. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to mess it up for everybody else. So then, you got to, think it through. Think it through. All right, you guys, I'm Robert Ferguson. Thank you for listening in. And if you want to learn more about anything, reach out to us. Make sure you subscribe for our free newsletter. We have a YouTube if you're on some other platform. This thing we got with the omegas that I've been sharing with people, man, wait till you see what we're going to share in the next couple months. I have never in my entire career, 29 years of doing this, seen what I am seeing as far as results. I'm really blown. I am so blown away. And I'm telling you, I'm in the gray area. I'm just telling you, these are facts. It is mind blowing what I'm seeing. Mind blowing. The world needs exactly what we're making available to people. Whether they change their nutrition habits, exercise habits, doesn't matter if they can just learn what we are aware of now when it comes to the importance and the role of omega-3s in our lives. And if they can take a quality omega-3, not the one down the street, because I have some clients that aren't the brightest people in the world. And I don't say that to be mean, but they really aren't. But you want to take a quality omega-3, not your friend's omega-3, and not the one that you just saw on TV. And if you are using your friends or the one you saw on TV, at least get the test done so you know if it's working or not. Jeez. And if none of that makes sense, just sign up for our free newsletter because I wrote an article last week. I'm writing another one right now. And then, like I said, in about 6 weeks, I'm going to share the results of quite a few people and how it has made a significant positive impact in their lives. All right. So I'm Robert Ferguson. You guys have a good one. Until the next one. Peace.